I think we're going to start. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, we've got 8, but board members, if we can get you to take your seat, we'll get started. We've got a few of them will be popping in here in a second. We want to welcome everyone to our USDB, Utah Schools Deaf and Blind board meeting. Appreciate staff being here. On the safety side, emergency, you guys get tired of this, but it's important that we always do this. Safety is important. Emergencies, we go out these doors to my right. As soon as you go in the hallway, you can go right or left, and you're right outside. Restrooms are just right outside these doors to the right, so in case of emergency, either one of those kind. Okay, we're going to get right to our agenda. We do not have any public comment signups, so we're going to move right into item number 3. And I'm seeking a motion to approve the minutes of the December 6, 2019 meeting. Okay, do we have a second? We have a motion and a second to approve. The motion before the board is to approve the minutes of the December 6, 2019 meeting. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Vote is unanimous. I have your green pen. So borrow my black one back. All right. I like that green pen. Okay, next we'll have Carl Empey, the Finance Director, go over the monthly budget report.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, and board members. Happy New Year to everybody. The financial report we are presenting is for the 5 months that ended November 30th. Our inflows of revenues and transfers from the state totaled $17.8 million. Our outflows or expenditures were $15.5 million. So we had more revenues and transfers coming in of $2.3 million than we did expenditures. The detail is on the following report, and we'll get to that in a minute. The number of students that we served is 1,581 as of the end of November. Our land grant enrichment fund balance as of November 30th is $1,210,124. Our donated funds were $1,181,757.98. And that's the financial report. The budget status report is the next attachment in your agenda that gives all the detail of all of our revenues, inflows, and expenditures. I'd be happy to answer any questions that anyone may have on the financial report and the budget status report.
Any questions from board members on the financial report and the budget status report? I just have one question
Okay.
for you. Mr. Empey, is there anything that you know or see in these that should cause us of any concern?
Nothing that has come to our attention, and I think everything is good for as of right now.
So it appears on the statements. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, please continue.
Okay, the next report is our donated funds summary that gives the detail of the $1,181,000 that's in it, that's broken out by the units and each of the respective donated fund categories of that. Basically, the majority of our funds are the Ray Norda Foundation funds, and that's $927,805 of the total $1,181,000. So we have the majority of it is in one fund.
Okay, any questions on the donated funds? Seeing none, please continue.
Okay, our last report is the enrichment fund project list. The balance or the program dollar amount that you approved back in May was $1,006,000. We have spent of that $332,288, leaving us a balance of $673,711 to spend before the end of the year. So we're on track with our enrichment fund projects. Any questions you may have on the enrichment funds?
I'm not seeing any. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you
great.
for your report.
You're welcome.
Next is item 5. We'll have Superintendent Joel Coleman. It's our IFR review.
Thank you.
Let me turn your mic on. There we go.
All right. This, board members, this is a kind of a real quick update. After reviewing our IFRs internally, we realized we could fund one position, additional position to those we had already decided that we would do. And so we are just reducing one of our IFRs by 1 FTE. And so we've submitted that to the finance department and so forth, and that'll go through to the legislature eventually. I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. It was a transition specialist that we can take care of internally.
Okay. Thank you for that update. Next, we're to item 6, which is report on Space Camp. We're going to invite Brandon Watts, the director. Oh, sorry, I don't have your mic on. There you go.
Sorry.
Okay. Oh, it's, here we go again. Okay, now it shows.
So we have a couple of kids en route. We have one student here, so is there a way, Joel,
Yes,
maybe
we
you
can
could do your
change the-
superintendent's appointment
yeah.
by a few more minutes?
Let's hold off on that.
Thank you.
And let's go to the superintendent's report.
Great. I have 3 items today. The first item that I have, it's a report that we got from our social media, not social media, our media exposure this last year. We got the whole report from everything, and I thought I would give you those numbers. It's nice to have some data on that. We had over 8 million views on the things that we produced. We produced over 70, I think it was 72 videos this year to push out. And this has really been an ongoing effort over the last few years because the board has told us in the past, you know, with all the good things going on, it doesn't seem like the public is always aware of that. And so I wanted to let you know, and it was also of the value of this. Susan, what was the total value of our exposure this last year?
Okay, I've got to turn that
Over,
mic.
I'll say it, it's over $400,000 of earned exposure. That's like what we would have paid for advertising if we would have had to pay for it, but the news media covered it. And none of this even covers the social media exposure we had. So I like to have data quantified, and last year and this year were the first times we've had that, and I thought, that certainly is a lot of bang for the buck. We also use the same company to assess this that all of the state agencies use when they do it. And so we're comparing apples to apples just to make sure. And anyway, I give a lot of credit to Susan and Todd for what they produce, but it's really awesome. And more importantly, they've gotten more of the people at USDB to produce their own things and push them out and create videos. And we have teachers making videos to help the parents work with their kids now at home, just little YouTube videos and stuff. And so it's very exciting. And at the end of the year, we just got that, and I thought, oh, I want to tell the board. So that was the first thing. Second thing on the agenda is I would like to introduce you to Deanna. Deanna, would you come up to the microphone, please? We have a new director with the opening of our Springville building, and she will be overseeing the deaf school operations here. And Deanna, if you could turn on that microphone and maybe just introduce yourself to the board. These are our friends who tell us what we have to do. And she has an amazing history. We were so grateful to get her to come and apply and work here. And so Deanna, just go ahead and introduce yourself and let them know how it's been for your first few days.
It's on now.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hello, I'm saying you all instead of y'all because I'm kind of Midwestern, Southeast. But I am so honored first to be here today, but I'm overwhelmed and honored by this opportunity. I made a huge family sacrifice, and I thought this would be amazing, and it's beyond my expectations. So the building, when you see it in pictures, it can't show you what that space does for the senses that our deaf and blind children need. So it's been a very busy week with lots of people, and I've had tremendous support. USDB is a well-oiled machine, and everybody's there to help you and to support you, and there's so much to do and to get done, but there's so much already done. The children's eyes, when we did the tour and they were at the playground, I was just like, why didn't I have a video of it? And we're just letting parents come in informally. So I feel like when you look across the nation, Utah's schools for the deaf and the blind are state-of-the-art and world-class. And I feel like people don't know that. So it's thrilling. And even when you just send pictures to people, they can't believe it. And the deaf community is small, and across the nation, in the deaf community, like even International Deaf News has picked this up. What we're doing for children, because they feel like there's hope, because so many schools are closing, yet they're needed so much because of the specialization. So I couldn't be more honored, and it's surpassed what I dreamed that it could be. And I feel like Utah is making a huge statement about how important children are. So.
Thank you. Would you mind sharing your background briefly with the board?
Yeah,
so where you come from?
my brother is deaf, and I've been in the field for 30 years. So for a while, I had to kind of travel with my husband, but what that allowed me is I've worked at research hospitals, such as Boys Town National Research Hospital and Vanderbilt, as a communications specialist doing assessments. In addition, I worked for it got international at Boys Town for cochlear implant teams. So I have a really strong belief with a deaf brother and ASL, and I believe you need to drive the speech and auditory system, and that we have to give our children the best possible opportunity for their future. So in that, I've always done whatever I needed. I've taught preschool, I've taught elementary, I've been at residential schools and taught high school. I was in Nashville, greater area, Tennessee, and I led a lot of district programs, which meant I just did everything. I did auditory equipment, I did assessments, I qualified kids, I had graduate students, I guest lectured. I had a marvelous opportunity to participate in a federal research grant, which I hope to bring here. It's called Strategic Interactive Writing Intervention, and it's a bilingual approach to children who are deaf and hard of hearing, and hearing kids can do well with it too, to learn to improve their writing skills, and the results are compelling, which I'd be thrilled to talk to anybody about. I was the first pilot teacher, and I've become a data collector and an advocate for that. So in the course of my family, it became my turn to choose a career, and wow, I'm just overwhelmed that I had this opportunity at this time in my life. And I thank you all, especially Joel and Michelle.
Thank you. So you can see why we're excited. We have an LSL expert and ASL expert in one person, and that's perfect. So Deanna is also getting culture shock because she moved right into downtown Provo. So, I bet she loves it, and that's great.
I love it.
Anyway, we have a 1 minute 57-second video to show you that our folks made. This is the new school so far. You'll notice there's still some finishes left, and it'll be about 3 or 4 weeks until all of the panels and things come in, but the kids are there. You'll notice we also have our blind program there. Deanna just happens to be our deaf director, so we thought we'd introduce you to her because she came to town within the last couple of weeks. But it's really fun. So let's roll that, Jared, and then we'll move on afterwards.
Skylights and the openness and the different textures, and I'm bowed over. It's gorgeous. My feeling from the beginning when I just saw the design was how important children are, how symbolic this is of the importance of them, because some of the facilities for our children who have special needs do not indicate how important they are. This, to me, the thought, I don't know of any school like this, where they've thought about the sensory needs of both the deaf and the blind all in one school, but yet how that helps each other. And then the kids today, when they went on the playground, that, you see this 3-tower playground piece of equipment, but to see the kids up in it and you think, wow, what an opportunity to interact and for imaginative play, and it just seems endless. But they were so excited just to see that first time that they played on the equipment. So the playgrounds, the sensory playgrounds, they have these musical instruments, but we played with them this weekend. They vibrate, you can feel them in your body. When the parents came in, they really loved, when we went to sensory gardens, the glass, the size of the building. There was a few groups of parents. They were like, whoa, this is a lot of space to play. And so they were very impressed. Their eyes, their expressions, what it solicits in communication, just the building itself. I just don't think children have ever been in a space that enlivens their senses like this does. And who better to have it but deaf and blind children?
All right, that was that part of my report. And the last item was we opened our Springville building this week. So we're off to a great start. And we will be having a grand opening again in April sometimes when some of the landscaping is in and so forth. If you want to go down for a sneak peek, you're welcome to anytime. Just let us know. But we will be having a big event in the spring.
Well, welcome to Utah. Is it director?
Yes.
So, Director
Glasser.
Glasser, okay. Well,
Thank you so much.
and you live in Provo, is that what I,
Yes, we love it.
it's Springville's is where a lot of my family is from. It's a neat little place, and
I would have been thrilled to be at Springville too, but yeah, we picked a pretty little Victorian house near downtown, so.
well, there you go. Well, welcome to USDB and the great state of Utah. Thank you. So that concludes your, oh, yes. Sorry, I didn't see that earlier. Board Member Cannon.
Will you give us the exact address in Springville, so if we have a chance to pop in, we can do it?
Yes, I will email that to you.
Okay.
To all of you. It's a great
Because I
suggestion.
think some of the board members are going down to the Springville Art Museum.
Oh, yeah.
On the 28th, and it might be an opportunity to just take a quick run through the new building.
That would be great, yeah. We'll do that today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, let's go to, I think we're ready for our report on Space Camp. So Brandon Watts has taken a point on that, or?
Can I just take a,
Yes, please go ahead and
And
introduce
he's
us.
I
go
just-
ahead.
So just for a quick introduction, as the kids come up here, we took 4 of our great kids from across the state to Huntsville, Alabama to join an international community of students in Huntsville, Alabama. So they're delighted to be here today to share their experiences and some of their
We
PowerPoint
have another
presentations.
chair on the other side, I think, that might,
Here, you
well,
can
we
sit
can get
right
another
here.
chair.
I'm gonna get up.
Take it away, Brandon.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Brandon Watts, and I'm the Director of Outreach Vision Services with the Utah Schools for the Deaf and the Blind. I supervise the teachers of the visually impaired that work in the different areas of Utah. We serve 30 school districts and 28 charter schools, and we provide instruction to students with vision impairments based on their individual needs, whether it's Braille, technology for the blind, training on the use of their sight canes, and ensure that they do have equal access to their academics and curriculum. We always encourage our students to participate in extracurricular activities so that they can develop their interests and have meaningful life experiences. One of those activities that students were able to participate in was Space Camp, held in Huntsville, Alabama. USDB's Space Camp applications were sent to all students' areas being served by USDB, but also to larger school districts who supply their own teachers of the visually impaired. The students I have with me today were in attendance to Space Camp, which took place September 28th to October 4th. There were 368 students from 26 different states and 12 different countries, all who had visually impaired, to participate in this camp. There were different levels of space programs during that week, but our students participated in Advanced Space Academy. It's 1 week of intense programs and training for space shuttle missions, requiring students to take on roles and work as a team. All the control panels, all the scripts, the computers were adapted for the blind and visually impaired. Some of them were even just ripped off and replaced with Braille and large print and tactile graphics. The activities included, let me introduce the students real quickly. Gabe, who couldn't be with us today, is from Wasatch School District. We do have Julian, Hannah, Kevin, and Landon. I'll let them introduce themselves and tell you all where they're from in just a little bit. But the students participated in moonwalking, which the student would sit in a chair and it simulated 1/5 of Earth's gravity as they walk on a surface that is like the moon. The MAT, which is the multi-axis trainer that spins you around like a gyroscope and simulates. Landon, do you want to talk a little bit about your experience with the MAT? Multi-axis trainer? Yeah, let's turn this on.
Okay, we're good.
So the multi-axis trainer is basically, it's like a gyro that you sit in the middle of that spins you around, that simulates loss of control, like your spacecraft. If you lose control of it and it's spinning, it simulates trying to get it back under control. So I had the opportunity to go in that, and it was awesome. Probably best part of space camp.
Now, normally, you would think that you would get sick in the MAT, but what it was designed to do was keep your stomach in the same position. So people that would normally get motion sickness could be in this device, and they wouldn't feel any motion sickness. It was really interesting and a lot of fun. Ropes and obstacle courses. Julian, would you share your experience with?
Oh boy, the ropes and obstacle courses. They were fun. So the first one, or at least the biggest one in my memory, was the zip line.
That's the middle picture.
Oh boy. Well, you see here, I got on the zip line, and it's like how tall? Like 30 feet, 40 feet tall.
2 stories.
2 stories. So I have a fear of heights. So the moment I got on there, I got up there, I looked down, and I stayed up there for the next 10 minutes. One of the scariest moments of space camp, right next to the pamper pole right there. Well, actually, I kind of overcame my fear of heights right there, because I did manage to go down the zip line through a lot of screaming, maybe a curse word or two. But I made it down. And you don't know how happy it was to touch the ground.
Absolutely.
It was fun. And then the pamper pole, I fell off of it, and the screaming was amazing.
So the pamper pole is a 35-foot pole that students climb up, and then they stand on top of and then jump off of. And so I'm really proud of you for doing that, by the way. And other obstacles where they had to work together as a team, you can see them here putting together wooden planks on cinder blocks to get from one end of the room to the other. We also participated in rocket building and launching, space history and debate. Do you guys remember what the topic was for the debate?
I think
Boundary. Yeah, Kevin, you want to talk a little bit about that? Yeah, go for it.
So we had a debate, and we were split up into 2 groups, and one group we had to decide whether putting boundaries in space was a good thing or a bad thing. So one side had to list the pros of boundaries in space, and the other team had to list the cons. And
I was pretty surprised because in my mind, I was thinking, okay, there's no way we can sell the planets. You just don't sell the planets to the highest bidder. But it was debated and won that we should sell the planets at Space Camp. And these kids, they had that discussion and debate. It was a lot of fun. Thank you, Kevin. Students also participated in scuba diving to simulate zero gravity in space. You want to talk a little bit about that? You did that, Landon?
Yeah, I did that.
Go ahead. You want to talk a little bit to it?
So it's this big tank that you go down into, and you have to go, they have like ladders on the side that are measured. So you go down a certain amount of feet, and then you stop and you equalize so that you don't have ruptured eardrums or anything like that at the bottom. So you got to the bottom, as you can see in the pictures. There's stuff down there. They had some PVC pipe that you made into a square, and you played around with like it's like a little like space station thing right there that you could jump around, and it simulates zero G, as you said. It was very fun.
The students participated in space missions, mission control. Hannah, would you talk a little bit about when you got to put on the spacesuit?
Yeah, so I got to be, this is my favorite part, I got to be this thing called Mission Specialist number 2, and I got to be in a spacesuit and go in a hanging harness and fix the satellite. It was super cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a nice picture of Hannah in front of the actual space shuttle. I'd like them to just reflect and share life lessons at this time. So if you just tell them where you're from, your name, and why you applied.
Alrighty. So my name is Julian Verdugo. I'm from South San Pete School District. I'm a senior. Let's see now. Alrighty. My favorite part of space camp has to be, it's hard to think about because there's a lot of good parts. Moonwalking was fun, along with the missions. The missions were great, especially the last one. The last one was an experience. It's hard to pick. Let's see, in life lessons. What did I get? I have trouble getting life lessons off many things. I don't know why. I think I'm too young.
Would you recommend that they continue to fund the space camp?
I say so, actually. It's pretty fun. I did learn a lot of new things, actually. Plus, I am interested in astronomy and stuff, researching about space, and the fact that I did learn some things and I do research, it's pretty cool. So it still teaches me some stuff. It was very interesting. It's fun.
Thanks, Julian.
Hi, so I'm Kevin Valencia. I'm a senior in North San Pete High School. I wanted to go to space camp because I've just always, I don't know, I like space. It's the final frontier, right? So I had a lot of fun at space camp because just the diversity was really cool, being with kids from different states, different countries, just kids all around the world, learning about all, like, what they do at their home and working together with them to complete the obstacles and the games. It's just really fun.
My name's Landon Pierce. I am from like Park City area, and I'm homeschooled, so I kind of don't know my grade.
Online school.
Homeschooled online. It's kind of confusing sometimes. I wanted to go to space camp because I am I'm going into the aerospace engineering field. So I wanted to go to see like what astronauts would go through training-wise, and it's just a wonderful experience to learn from that, to see people from other countries coming together, and to see what NASA did to help the visually impaired so that they can achieve this stuff.
So my name is Hannah. I'm from Gunnison, Utah, Gunnison Valley High School. I'm a junior. I had so much fun at space camp, and I did learn a few life lessons. One of them was that to conquer my fears more, because before I went to space camp, I was afraid to do pamper pull, and I was like regretting it and to do it and stuff. And then when I got put as mission specialist number 2, I got over that fear because I was in a hanging harness and I could lean over. And so when I did the pamper pull, when I got to the very top, they were like, "You're not gonna fall." I'm like, "I know." And yeah, and then another life lesson I learned was actually through a friend I met at space camp, and I learned that we can't take life too seriously because anything can happen. Like, I have this friend, her name is Jordan, and she has this like disability disease that just makes her puff up and swell really bad. And a few years ago, she had her driver's permit. She was an archer. She's a photographer. And one day, the disease came back to her. And one minute she could see, and the next minute she couldn't. So anything could happen in less than a second.
She was actually, this young lady that Hannah's talking about was actually on Dr. Oz in the last couple of weeks. She was actually featured on Dr. Oz because of the rarity of her disease and the fact that it caused not only her facial features to swell up, but her optic nerve, causing her to become totally blind, and she had an amazing experience. So thanks for sharing that, Hannah. Thank you. This was the 30th anniversary of SIVAS, the Space Camp for Interested Visually Impaired Students, and it was pretty tough to get into. We were very fortunate to have been able to participate this year, as it was the 30th anniversary, and so many people had applied. Thank you very much, and we open it up to any questions you may have.
Questions from board members or comments? I've got a couple. How many went total? Was it
368 students. And from Utah, there were 5, and 1 was unable to be here today.
okay? Board member Davis.
I just want to commend you all for going and working so hard. And I am afraid of heights also. And when I looked at that picture, it made my stomach turn a somersault. So good for you to conquer that fear, to go and do that. And also maybe a little bit of conquering to come and speak to all of us. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? And on the fear of heights, my wife is really, she has the same problem of fear of heights, and at times she'll get on the floor of the truck when we're up in the mountains because of some of the ledges. But I went on a trip to Europe, and the next thing, I didn't know all this was going to really happen, and she mentioned it, and then all of a sudden I'm booked, but we paraglided off of the Matterhorn, and she signed both of us up, and now she's still afraid of heights a little bit, but she knows that she can overcome them, just like you did on the zip line. So the question might be, when are you going to go on your next zip line?
I don't know. I guess time will tell. Maybe when we visit Las Vegas, I'll get on Slotzilla, that 100-foot zip
Yeah,
line.
there you go.
I've been on it once when I was younger, and well, that was an
And that's why you're afraid of
experience.
heights now.
I'm not seeing any other questions or comments. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for the
And
opportunity.
Director, for participating in this. It brings a lot of joy to our meeting schedule to have these type of presentations. So thank you for being here. I know it was a little bit of a sacrifice, and safe journeys, and thanks again.
Our privilege. Thank you all so much. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank
Brian.
you.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, we've had our superintendent's report, and we have one item of business we have to take care of in an executive session. So Superintendent, I'll ask you to stay on this, but I'm seeking a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing the character, professional competence, or physical and mental health of individuals. Second? Got it. It's a roll call vote. We'll start with Board Member Cannon.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, we'll get ready for that.